Stephen Arterburn, Every Man's Battle, Winning the War on Sexual Temptation One Victory at a Time. Embark on a transformative journey with Every Man's Battle, Winning the War on Sexual Temptation One Victory at a Time by Stephen Arterburn, a guide designed for those seeking sexual purity in an age saturated with temptation. This summary unveils the internal struggles faced by many men and offers practical, faith-based solutions to cultivate a life aligned with God's standards. Explore key themes including the natural proclivities of men, the societal forces influencing temptation, and innovative approaches to rewiring habits through concepts such as neuroplasticity. From understanding the Bible's teachings on purity to mastering techniques like bouncing your eyes and fostering intimacy in marriage, this summary equips you with strategies to overcome habitual sins and redirect passions towards a fulfilling, spiritually driven life. Ready to discover a path toward liberation and integrity? Let this summary illuminate the steps you can take today.
Striving for sexual purity. Christians are called to pursue sexual purity amidst a society saturated with sexual imagery. While it's natural for men to be visually stimulated, being drawn to the sight of an attractive jogger or lingerie isn't unusual. However, the natural inclination doesn't justify indulgence in lustful thoughts or actions. The goal should be to realign one's desires according to a higher standard, God's standard of sexual purity. In practical terms, this means that sexual satisfaction should be shared exclusively with one spouse. Watching pornography, fantasizing about others, or considering these actions harmless are not in line with biblical teachings. The New Testament, especially in Corinthians and Matthew, stresses that the body is not meant for sexual immorality but for devotion to God. Even a fleeting desire for another woman is considered akin to adultery, underscoring the seriousness of the call to sexual purity. Adhering to such a high standard can be challenging, especially when surrounded by a culture that normalizes and glorifies sexual liberation. With constant access to sexual content via smartphones and other devices, resisting temptation requires steadfast willpower and determination. Despite these challenges, any man can overcome the allure of sexual immorality by building strong defenses anchored in faith and persistence. Pursuing purity in thoughts, words, and actions aligns one with divine expectations and fortifies against the daily temptations inherent in today's world. Change your neural pathways. Imagine Ethan, a devoted father and Christian, who found himself trapped in a cycle of behavior every Monday. While his daughter napped, he grappled with an overpowering urge to indulge in online pornography. This was more than a fleeting distraction, it had become an ingrained habit. Over time, Ethan's repeated actions had conditioned his brain to expect a dopamine rush during these moments, a process known as habit formation. But therein lies the hope: just as these habits are formed, they can be undone. Enter the concept of neuroplasticity, the brain's remarkable ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections throughout life. This malleability means that through conscious effort and choice, we can reshape our brains and, ultimately, our behaviors. Ethan realized that he was not powerless in the face of his urges. Armed with this knowledge, he began the journey of forging new pathways in his brain. Ethan made a deliberate choice to replace his habit with constructive activities. He crafted a list of alternative actions, like doing household chores, making a phone call, or immersing himself in a faith-based podcast. Every time the familiar urge beckoned, Ethan consciously selected one of these activities, gradually dissociating Mondays from the old habit. Over time and with persistent effort, his brain adapted, and the initial compulsion faded away. This journey requires patience, as change is not instantaneous. It takes about 6 weeks of consistent effort to start observing meaningful shifts in our habits. The transformation is not just about abstaining from unwanted actions, it's about embracing choices that align with one's values and beliefs. Every positive choice is an affirmation of living in accordance with one's faith and values. Consider your own habits, those repetitive behaviors that compromise your integrity and values. Acknowledge how they began, but envision the change that is possible. The power to transform lies within your grasp, propelling you toward a life more in tune with your ideals. Embrace the challenge and make the active decision to alter your habits, one choice at a time. You're more than capable of walking this path of change, redirecting your life to reflect your highest intentions. Bounce away temptation. Embarking on the journey toward sexual purity requires a strategic approach centered around mental discipline and visual restraint. The goal here is to ensure that gratification comes solely from one spouse, but various tempting distractions often derail this path. Be it the alluring image of a woman on the street or provocative content online, these visuals can spark thoughts that lead to impurity. Addressing this involves recognizing that masturbation is merely a symptom of deeper issues, predominantly stemming from visual or mental provocations like online pornography or erotic fantasies. To safeguard one's purity, the first line of defense involves training your senses, starting with the eyes. This is where the technique of bouncing your eyes becomes vital. You practice consciously redirecting your gaze away from sensual images, whether it's a woman in revealing attire or a captivating advertisement on a billboard. Over time, this deliberate act of looking away should evolve into an instinctive response, much like your reflexive action when touching something hot. Recognizing that nature and society often incline men to fixate on such images, which leads to the detrimental objectification of women, this practice requires unlearning ingrained habits. Identifying personal triggers is key. Understand where your gaze often strays. It could be particular kinds of adverts, sportswear, or explicit content online. Knowledge of these triggers allows you to create a robust defense strategy. Imagine driving past joggers, redirect your eyes to the other side of the road. Peripheral vision does little to feed lustful thoughts. This method is complemented by instilling a sense of personal accountability through a commitment or covenant with yourself, or perhaps spiritually. The author emphasizes this by internally reprimanding any temptation to stray from his commitment, using an agreed, spiritual covenant as a reminder to stay focused on his goal of purity. Employ these strategies when facing your triggers. With patience and persistent practice, this approach not only strengthens your defense against temptation but might also diminish its allure altogether. Gradually, the struggle for purity can transition from a conscious effort to a natural way of being. Rediscovering intimacy. In today's world, one of the most pressing challenges many men face is the pervasive presence of pornography. With technology making it easier than ever to access explicit content, porn now often ventures into unsettling territories such as sadomasochism and misogyny. This isn't just about availability, the consequences dive deeper into altering our brains. Habitually indulging in pornography can reshape neural pathways, leading to an unfortunate reality where virtual stimuli overpower real-life experiences. This shift has resulted in a worrying trend. Young men increasingly report struggles with erectile dysfunction. Some might argue that porn is harmless, but the truth tells otherwise. Persistent exposure risks mutating sexual interests and pokes holes in real-world intimacy, particularly with one's partner. The solution to this destructive cycle is straightforward: break free from the addiction. Cold turkey might sound drastic, but it is a clear path toward reclaiming one's sexuality. The rewards for doing so are multifaceted. Beyond spiritual benefits, there are tangible enhancements in one's sexual life. As one of the authors experienced firsthand, ceasing to focus on other women and fantasies brought an unexpected yet pleasant surprise. His wife, who had been by his side for years, blossomed into a newfound source of attraction. She caught his attention more than ever, invigorating their marriage and breathing new life into their intimacy. This transformed connection is an embodiment of healthy sexual expression within respectful boundaries. For those ready to reignite their relationships, there's a gentle method to ease back into genuine intimacy, a process called skin-to-skin. This exercise fosters closeness without the pressure of immediate sexual expectation. The practice is simple yet powerful. Choose a nostalgic, comedic TV show and shed all barriers, including clothes, for total comfort. Lie beside your partner while watching, consciously not touching each other. The absence of contact allows relaxation and the cultivation of a deeper emotional connection. When the show ends, engage with your partner, softly, slowly, and consensually. Touch and kiss without rushing towards sexual tension, focusing solely on building a serene space of intimacy. Attune to your partner's responses, this leads to profoundly meaningful sexual experiences. The journey to rediscovering true freedom starts with letting go of porn. Redirect attention towards the person who matters most, your spouse. By pacing intimacy slowly, the process of mental rewiring accelerates. Breaking the chains of entrenched habits unlocks a life brimming with genuine connection and a robust sense of freedom previously unseen.
In Every Man's Battle, achieving sexual purity is depicted not merely as a personal goal but as a divine mandate, calling men to strive for higher moral standards amidst pervasive sexual temptations. The book's summary underscores the non-negotiable stance of biblical teachings on purity, making clear the power of choice and action in transforming detrimental habits. By implementing methods such as recognizing personal triggers, practicing self-discipline, and enhancing marital intimacy, this guidance empowers men to reclaim control over their desires. Through dedication and persistent effort, it's possible to unlearn habits tied to impurity and replace them with spiritually fulfilling practices. Ultimately, this battle is about achieving freedom, a liberation that enables men to honor their marriages and faith, fostering deeper connections and renewed intimacy with their spouses. As you reflect on these insights, consider how small, everyday victories can lead you toward enduring personal and spiritual growth.